Okay, hi everybody. It's David, Darth Bunyan, Robert, what you want to call me. And I'm going to be talking to you today about She-Hulk and how much I like it and why. Um, I've heard a lot of, that there's a lot of negativity out there, um, that the show's too woke and it's not fun and it's not enjoyable. But I'm here to tell you that that's not the case. It is a fantastic show. I absolutely love it. I watch it every week. And, excuse me, I've watched all of it again today just to write down some points that I'm really enjoying on it. Um, First off, um, there is the Jen's first line. Okay, the first line she talks about responsibility, and I think that's really important. And I think that's going to come back full circle on the last episode because they're pushing really heavily for her blood to be taken, right? So we've already got the leader from the Incredible Hulk movie, and we're gonna get something else. Um, I'm not a big comic reader, but I know that Mallory has something to do in the comics, so it could be that. Um, so episode one, right? Not a lot happened in episode five. Sorry, six is today. Well, I say not a lot happened. It was a good episode. Um, but I wanted to have more talking points, so I watched all of them. Right. So episode one, absolutely loved how quickly she turned into She-Hulk. That was great. Love how the women came to her aid and offered her support. And didn't really even ask any questions. Was just there for it. It was great. Her second transformation was absolutely hilarious. Um, Smart Hulk keeps talking about the Hulk form not being a choice. Um, and yeah, it was an accident, obviously, that both of them got the Hulk form. Um, and like a lot of superheroes, what happened to them wasn't a choice; it was thrust upon them. But I think that like because in episode one he keeps talking about it seeing two sides of an opposing force or whatever, and that's why he's Smart Hulk. Um, it came to a level of acceptance and choice to be that, you know what I mean, and not hide away from it. So like choice and responsibility is going to be a heavy part of this. Um, then the Sicarian ship comes, right? And I obviously it had showed the Grandmaster having a mutiny, but I don't. I really highly doubt he's dead. Um, and he's obviously just somewhere else, you know. Um, which could be how we get Secret Wars. Do you know what I mean? It like Secret Wars is obviously going to involve Battle World somehow, probably. But instead of it just being incursions called by Strange and or Kang, you know, it could be like the Grandmaster playing with another force, like the Beyonder or something, you know, like in the cartoon and that. So the fact that the Grandmaster isn't on Sakaar anymore and Bruce is going there really feels like they called him there because like the strongest rule kind of situation. You know what I mean? Like he did really well. He had like a lot of fans. He's a popular leader. He's strong. He can look after everybody. Um, so yeah, like that could be why. Also, I'm really curious to see if he has a son. I'm almost certain he will. Um, okay. I love the rivalry between Jen and Bruce. It's great. It really feels like they grew up together. Hulk's little tantrum when they break the bar was amazing. Um, what else? Okay, right. So this is a big thing. This is a big thing. Okay, so Bruce or Smart Hulk or Hulk, whatever you want to call him, actually notices Jen's fourth wall break, or She-Hulk, Jen, whatever you want to call her. Right. There's a point to her being called Aunt Jen and She-Hulk, which I want to get to. Um, but yeah, so like apart from Nikki, who I'm unsure about, and what we'll get to in again, um, it genuinely feel. Excuse me. He's the only one to notice, right? Nikki kind of notices. Again, we'll get to that, but yeah, he fully notices, which is a major thing for me. Um, especially because not even traffic does. She literally like moves away from the car, right? Again, I've got no problem with that. I'm not sitting there saying, "Oh, there's terrible continuity," or whatever. I think it's hilarious, but like, if traffic's not even going to notice, he does. Like, I think that's significant, you know. Um, so yeah, a lot of things have been covered by everybody, and anyone watching this, I'm sure, would have seen all of those with like DJ Eric's videos and Paige's. Saying that, I'm not sure Paige's done She-Hulk videos. He normally discusses in the after party. I don't think he's more DC. Heavy spoilers. New Rockstars, all of the other ones, you know. So they've handled all the big stuff. This is just like quick thoughts before getting to the other stuff of today's episode. Plus, the main thing about this video is with all of the dissent and the hatred for the show and everyone calling it woke and everything else, I just wanted another positive light in the sea of darkness, you know, because it really is a fantastic show. It's a great comedy show. All of my friends watch it. All of us that like watching all of the other shows, Loki, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, all of that. So yeah, it's funny as well. Nikki is incredibly funny, and for me, I think she might be the MVP of the show at the moment. So, episode 2, right? Um, it's funny to me that Titania broke out of traffic court for the fight at the end of episode 1. Do you know what I mean? Like, how bad is traffic? How bad are your parking fines that you need to break the hell on out of there and start a fight? You know what I mean? And make everything worse. Maybe she did it for clout because she's an influencer, so she needs more views. To be honest with you, I think that's another reason why she's kind of latched on to Jen. You know, because people have, and especially like in the music industry and stuff, they have rivalries to garner interest. So that could very well be what Titania is doing, as one-sided as it is, you know. So there's a title change at the start of episode 2 because she's lost her job. So instead of She-Hulk Attorney at Law, it's She-Hulk Attorney for Hire, which is funny. So there's a joke where Pug offers them a map with the nicest bathroom in it, and I love that joke. I chuckle at it every time, especially their reaction to it. It's great. Okay, so this is an important thing, right? When Jen's walking through and she gets told to be She-Hulk, she's literally being told who to be and like when and where. Do you know what I mean? She's being told, literally being told who to be, which she herself doesn't even know who she is at the moment. She's coming to terms with and finding out who she is. But for someone else to say that, in any case, even if she knows who she is, to be demanded one way or the other felt a little inappropriate. They really humanized Emil Blonsky. The Incredible Hulk was a really good film, kind of dark before, you know, all the superhero movies like in the MCU were dark, and that then in their dark phase with Winter Soldier and everything. But yeah, so like he didn't have much going for him. I mean, even Trank the dog and stuff. So in that movie, so they've really humanized him in this show. Really make you feel for him and see his point of view, even though he acted quite horribly even before he had the serum. You know what I mean? He was quite desensitized to everything, being in the military for so long. So then at the end of that episode, they do the title change again, back to Attorney at Law, because she has another job. And again, so if you want anything more from episodes 1 and 2, there is the after party to go and watch on Eric's Reloaded channel. Is fantastic. And heavy spoilers and new rock stars and everybody else. So episode 3, like I said, these are just quick points that I've enjoyed myself, you know, that I've noticed as well. So there's articles that say like stand up for the lemurs and the fact that even Jen isn't even real, which is funny. There's a man Hulk, Norse gods coming from the sky, aliens, alien invasions, people disappearing, everything that's happened in the MCU so far, and there's still people that are like, this is a hoax, she's not real. No, get away, you know. That felt crazy to me. Okay, so I love the fact that Holloway stuck up for Jen with Dennis, who is absolutely disgusting, but he still feels a little off. You know what I mean? He still doesn't feel quite right. Oh my god. Okay, so the way that reporter just straight picked up on that guy said, "Oh, is it true you were rejected from the Avengers?" And then instantly, "Oh, rumored that She-Hulk was rejected from the Avengers." Like, it really shows how vicious like the news cycle can be. Okay, so something I've noticed with just the show in general and how everyone's talking about it, and then like the MCU in general and the way that Kevin Feige is taking it, it kind of feels like they're just, you know, like the line that Don Cheadle says when he turns up in Iron Man 2, like, I'm here, it's me, I deal with it. I feel like I might be quoting somebody here. I smoke a lot, so that could be me quoting somebody that I watched a couple of days ago. So, right, that's a warning on that one. But it feels like they just don't care, and they're going straight for it, and I love that. Do you know what I mean? Because more representation is better for everybody. It helps everybody, and like hurts no one. The only people it hurts are the people that put up barriers. That's all it does. Do you know what I mean? It hurts those barriers. That's it. If you're just accepting and inviting of everybody and more seats at the table, this is what Brie Larson was talking about. Brie Larson? Is that her name? Brie Larson? Yeah, right. It's more seats at the table, not taking away seats from everybody else. A bigger table for everybody. That's all it is. Okay. So, and then the reporter is like, "Oh, is Jen one of the 7 soulmates?" And a monster helping a monster. It was just terrible. And Jen taking control of the narrative is very important, and is more than just like a theme, or like it's more than just like a plot for an episode. It's a whole theme for the show, you know. Taking control of her narrative, making a choice. Do you mean? Because at this point in the show, it kind of reflects more like it was on episode 1, right? So when Bruce was there talking about it, and he's like, it's negative, 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 negative. And he's like, well, there are some good sides, you know. That's literally just been her whole mindset, you know what I mean? living in a reality where everything is like there's a whole bunch of negatives, but she's embracing the few positives, but still not like taking on the whole identity. Do you know what I mean? Because while they do have separate names, like Jen and She-Hulk are the same person. Do you know what I mean? Like that was the whole point of episode 1. There's no other person on the wheel, right? So I do have questions as to whether her inhibitions are lowered and things like that, like her tolerance to alcohol changes. So our inhibitions lowered, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. But taking control of the narrative is very important. It's this whole show is about identity. I feel, you know, and that's funny because that's kind of thinking about it. That's what a lot of the shows have been about. WandaVision. Vision had an arc of him finding out who and what he was. Loki, his identity after essentially creating like I want to say another timeline, but that might be not right. You know what I mean? Like him should have been erased, and then like starting a whole other life essentially and finding out who he is and who he wants to be with Sylvie. This is about Hawkeye. Oh my God, Captain America, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Captain America. All about his identity, who he is. He was dead set on being Falcon. That the shield wasn't his, but it was his. It's his. It is his. You know. Bucky finding out who he is without being the Winter Soldier. Wow. Even Hawkeye, right? So she spent her whole life thinking she was one way, and then like her whole rug got pulled out, and she found out life was something completely different, you know. And it's not even like her identity changed or anything, but it kind of like just got changed in focus, you know. Plus, Clint, he was finding out who he is without Nat in his life and not being like being in retirement essentially. I feel, you know, that's crazy. That's crazy. I wonder what the next show is. That's nuts. It's all about identity. Okay. 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 So this is the episode with Megan Thee Stallion, right? Now I paused that scene in the courtroom, okay, and I like mapped out where she was, like I was bloody doing watching Thor with the statues, even though right at the end there was a whole clear shot of the 7 that I needed. So Megan Thee Stallion was not in that courtroom at all until she gets shown. So that and the fact that she's a part of the superhuman law division, like as a client, like what's her power? Teleportation, just turning up at the right moment? Who knows? But for her to just like not be there and then instantly be there, you know, and then maybe leave as well, because like you got to imagine that's going to be like a whole circus outside when she rocks out, you know. So it'll be interesting to find out what her powers are, and have her come back at some point. That'd be really fun, you know. And then like, oh my God, can you imagine if she saved She-Hulk at some point? Like Megan Thee Stallion just like teleporting straight in and then just, yeah, that's crazy. Okay. So at this point, Jen's taking steps to control who like control having the Hulk in her life, but not really like accept it. Do you know what I mean? She said like, "Oh, I am forever She-Hulk," but that's not. She's not really quite ready yet. She's not right there, you know. It's just like uh, reluctantly accepting it, I would say, you know. Okay, so this is again another point about what I was talking about, right? So the news asks her, who is Jen and who is She-Hulk, right? But again, while they are separate, I like forms, they are the same person. Do you know what I mean? It's why you have Smart Hulk, because you've got Bruce Banner and you've got the Hulk. Do you know what I mean? Like there's an amalgamation. Like when she's in a Hulk form, there's no need for that. There's none of that. It's just Jen all the way through, you know. And that's what she's got to realize as well. As much as she doesn't, because she doesn't want to take the responsibility. This is why it comes back to her very first line in episode 1. She doesn't want the responsibility of being a superhero or whatever. She just wants to put her blinkers on, focus on her lawyer career, and just be Jen, you know. But she's a part of the Hulk family. She's Jen, like slashy Hulk all in one. So it's kind of, you know, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this kind of feels contradictory to what I was talking about, but it says I wrote that Jen tries to stay as a named person. So basically, whenever even if she's in the Hulk form, um, she still wants to be just Jen. Do you know what I mean? Um, she doesn't go by She-Hulk, which kind of leans like she's leaning towards accepting it, I guess. What episode are we on? 3, yeah. Okay. Um, because she really doesn't like the mantle of She-Hulk. So it's more about like being Jen, but using the advantages of being She-Hulk, you know. But yeah, not like 100%. You know what I mean? Um, okay. So at the end, she gets accosted by a construction a gang that robbed a construction crew, an Asgardian construction crew, and there's a lot of theory on these guys. Whether one of the dates in episode 4, I think it is 4. I think she starts going dating, or 3. I can't remember honestly. But yeah, no. So basically, one of the dates that she goes on as Jen, someone thought that that was the guy, but his teeth are completely different. And then everyone was thinking that Josh might be the guy in the balaclava because there's only one guy in the balaclava. But Josh is Asian. The guy in the balaclava isn't. So that's definitely not the case. The fight goes well. It's funny because like she's screaming. I say it's funny, but she screams for a second and then she's like, "Oh, I can turn into a She-Hulk." So you know, I can turn big and green. So she does that, fights them off, and though she wins the fight, it definitely leaves a horrible feeling. You know, um, it's a young, it's a young single woman, um, like attacked outside of her home. It's a horrific thing. You know, thank God she was a Hulk, because that could have gone very differently, and I think that's the point, you know, that in in any climate, I imagine that a lot of women feel that way, you know. So left with a very, very uneasy feeling. Okay. So episode 4 starts off with talking about responsibility again. It's driving the point home. Also, I love Jen's dad. He's great. The way he just rocks him with the shovel, and he's like, "Yeah, it's for digging holes. Let's just leave it there." I was like, "Come on, come on." And he's the only person, apart from Bruce and Nikki, obviously, but the only person in her family, apart from Bruce, that seems to and actually attuned to how she feels and actually cares. You know. Not even getting to Chad and that fucking guy. Because as nice as he may or may not be, he definitely just seems out for himself. Okay. So again, yeah. Okay. So I was talking about before about the inhibitions of She-Hulk, right, and whether they're lowered or not. Because she kept getting prompted by Nikki to like start a dating profile and everything, and reach out personally, and try and connect with people. But it's as She-Hulk that she chooses to date as Jen. And I wonder if she would have had the confidence. Do you know what I mean? I know I keep saying like it's I want to say like it's 80 to 90% the same, but whether there's like a 10% difference. And it's like it gave her that kind of confidence kick she needed at work to kind of go, you know what, I will crack this off my to-do list, you know. Wong should have definitely taken the sling ring off of Donnie Blaze when he left the Hermitage. I mean, oh my god. You kick a guy out because he's irresponsible and you leave him with a tool that can, like, cause a whole host of damages, you know? That guy, I can't remember who said it, but someone was like, "No, officer, that pram hit me." You're like, wow, okay, that just shows how low this person is then, doesn't it? You know? Wong's an absolute badass. Love the way he fights, and just like he's such a good straight man. You know what I mean? Benedict Wong is a fantastic actor. He's great in the It Crowd. But he's just so funny. And it's just like the subtle movements he does, and he's just awesome. He's just awesome. Fights like a badass as well. Okay, so She-Hulk states are as much of a mess as Jen's. And it's a real low moment. A real low moment at the end of this one. So the guy that she ends up choosing literally is like, I'm tired of talking about myself. Do you want to share some fries? And she's good to go. Oh, and the fact he's a doctor and handsome, right? Handsome. Okay, right. So that's it. She's ready to go. That's it. Okay. And then yeah, as much as he seems great and stuff, he does seem like a player because it feels like he has like a cache of answers ready to go. And the fact that he's reading The Bad Feminist at her house, right? He doesn't even leave with that book. So it makes me think that that's her book, right? But he's halfway through it when she's in there, when she pops through the portal. Okay. So yeah, I didn't believe him for a second. Totally feels like a player. And the way he left when he just sees it's Jen, just Jen, with a big old smile on her face because she's had a wonderful time thinking that she's been accepted. And that's another thing as well, is like Nikki accepts her and loves her, but she's looking for validation outside as well when it needs to come mainly from within. And then I think it'd be easier to find that, you know. So accepting both sides, and obviously getting some attention is going to help. You know, it's going to make her feel good about herself. Make anyone feel good about themselves, you know. Okay, so episode 5. Right. This was a a terrible episode for Jen personally, because everything was just like rock bottom. And it's halfway through the series pretty much, so perfect timing. It starts off with a Titania advert that says, "I am strength, I am beauty, I own who I am." And again, it's a thread of what this show is about, you know? Accepting and owning who you are. Much the way Bruce has and was trying to get her to do, you know, which she said she did, but didn't. Not completely, you know. It was kind of like, trying to think of a good example here. No, that's a terrible example, but I'm still going to use it. Okay, so like there was an episode of Scrubs or something where someone was eating like too much carrots and tomatoes and stuff and just turned orange, right? So imagine that was your life from then on. You just was randomly orange and that's it, you know. I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, but yeah, you get my point, right? Hasn't fully accepted it. Yeah, okay, no, so that's it. So it'd be like, oh yeah, like, oh, they call me the Tango Man. Do you know what I mean? But there's a difference between like acknowledging that people call you that and then going, yeah, that's me, I'm the Tango Man, to running around in a giant tango can or whatever and just fully embracing the orange, you know. I did say that was a bad example. Okay. Her boss Holloway was sat eating nuts before deciding to talk to her, and he eats nuts like a villain. That's a sentence, isn't it? I felt that as I said it. he eats nuts like a villain. Oh, anyway, okay. Okay, so okay, Mallory. Okay, I love the character. She's great. Like the clothes she wears and everything is great. You know, she does really well. Um, I feel like just her iciness like leads me to be a bit wary of her. You know what I mean? She has her barriers up. She's very guarded at work, which is okay. She's just being incredibly professional. Nothing wrong with that. But there's professionalism and there's a kind of like iciness and, you know, her attitude just kind of a little bit off, you know. But she's amazing. She's an amazing lawyer. I love her. I did notice that when Pug and Nikki got to Luke and they got inside, and he got excited about Jen transforming, there was a suit of armor that had a beer gut. It had a full, like, the 6-pack for an 8-pack situation, but instead of the bottom 2-pack, it was just a whole beer gut. So now I'm sitting there wondering, who's the fat superhero? You know? Who in Marvel is a little bit tubby, but super buff at the same time, you know? Like has that like whole 1950s physique or whatever, you know? God knows. Here we go. So, the courtroom scene. Like I said, so all of her dates get dragged up, and like they literally, like their scope of the date and how it went is so off. It's so dodgy. You know what I mean? And that they were fully controlling their own narrative, and they were twisting the hell out of that one. You know. And then when the one that Jen actually liked, and was like, I don't like Jen. She's not my type, but She-Hulk's great. That was really sad. That was a really low moment. That was really dodgy. I didn't like it. I mean, not dodgy. I didn't like it. It was made me feel really bad for her. You know. Um. Yeah, didn't like the Doctor. Also, I'm in the camp of like I like Daredevil's red suit, so the yellow one didn't excite me too much. But is it bad that I kind of want I will like the suit more because Luke's made it, because it's come from a super fancy high end like Edna type. Do you know what I mean? And it's been styled by a visionary. I kind of I'm like, oh, I kind of might like it a little bit more. I think it might work well. Even though it's just like a comic book thing. So yeah. So that's episode 5. Okay, so this week's episode, they start off the episode with again pushing the blood thing, right? And there's in the recap they're showing that they're trying for the blood, and then at the end of either this episode or the last episode, it shows that they're taking the metal that they tried to take her blood sample with, and they're upgrading it to either adamantium or vibranium. We'll find out hopefully. So yeah, they're really pushing for that. It feels like Titania's latched on to Jen for clout, like I've said before. Again, okay, so like I said before, this I'm iffy on Nikki knowing the fourth wall break. Okay, because like she has like a laugh and a joke with Jen, and then kind of like goes to do her own thing. But as she does, I wasn't 100% sure if she acknowledges that Jen's going to talk, or is she just it's a comfortable silence after a joke kind of situation. But if she hasn't, then that means that the only person to acknowledge the fourth wall break is the Hulk, which is interesting to me. I both love the look on the guest faces when Jen's heads up, and but when Lulu starts her shit, and they're just like, oh, fucking hell, she goes again, she's off again. So, so I put here that it feels like that Jen uses She-Hulk as more than just a physical armor than what she would for fight, as a confidence booster, because she obviously feels like she looks better as She-Hulk, and everyone thinks she looks better as She-Hulk. And that will go like lending into more accepting of who she is and stuff, but while she does that, she hides her other self away. Do you know what I mean? So then Lulu kicking off, and thinking about it now, Lulu kicking off and turning her into back to Jen form for the wedding, for Josh to see that he likes her, it worked out really well. Do you know what I mean? So while she was sitting there complaining about it, it actually worked out in her benefit. Jen's face when Josh said that he liked her was so great. It was so great. It was so sweet. I really, 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 really hope that he stays true and it turns out fantastic for them, because he obviously has accepted both. And when she comes in as She-Hulk and gives him a little look and that, and it's great. So fingers crossed it works out for her. There was a point in the fight that Titania wasn't invested anymore, but solely for clout, I feel, and everything else. She just kept going, and that's when she injured herself, and I felt really bad for her. Do you know what I mean? Because like if she just stopped when she wanted to stop, then that wouldn't have happened. But she decided to keep going. Okay, so this is the thing that gets me as well. Like, She-Hulk dresses very conservatively, and then um in the news headlines and stuff on the web pages and stuff, it was always like She-Hulk dresses like a slut, and you're like, God damn, where did that come from? Um, there's no need for that, and like that is stuff that people would say, and it's uncalled for and not needed, especially when it's not true. Mallory is incredibly good at keeping secrets. Like I said, it's being professional, but she is incredibly guarded, which could be like a double agent thing. And then like GLH and K or whoever the law firm is, them having an incredibly being incredibly prestigious means that they have a high disposable income. So setting up a small division and just paying Jen and the paralegal, and then other people, and then just shifting around other people they already have, like Mallory, excuse me, and Pug and stuff. That would be a good way to know your enemy and find a weakness in Jen / She-Hulk to get her blood, and then use it for nefarious means. And it's interesting that she wants to keep Jen in the dark. She said it was for like altruistic reasons. I'm not 100% sure on that, especially because I need to have a look again at what she is in the comics. I feel like she's a double agent of some kind. I can't help it. Her and Holloway just really rub me the wrong way. On the website as well, it says that if a man was like Jen and had like her misogynistic attitude or whatever, or if a man was like Jen in any way, he would be cancelled right now. Like, there's not a Hulk that just rampages. Well, was a Hulk that just rampaged everywhere, broke Harlem, and I think he was in like South Korea, just tearing up Seoul, maybe I think it was. So yeah, completely untrue as well, So those are just like the things that I'd like from the show. Where I think it's going, I think someone is going to take her blood. I think that's going to spur her on, right? So like Spider-Man, how his lack of action led to Uncle Ben's death when he didn't stop the guy in the wrestling thing. I think her inaction, or her desire to keep everything separate and keep She-Hulk hidden until she's ready to use her like a trump card, or suits her. I think that's gonna cause a problem, and her blood's gonna be taken, and then it isn't going to be destroyed, and then Bruce isn't going to be here to help out, so she's going to have to fully take responsibility and become the superhero / vigilante that she didn't want to be. It's interesting whether the Sokovia Accords still apply and whether she'll have to register, because she's only just registered her own trademark, so registering as a superhero is going to be another step. But yeah, so it's an amazing show. It doesn't deserve the hatred it's getting. It's a lot of fun. I can't wait to see where it's going. I do feel like the way the Disney shows go, that Daredevil's not even going to turn up until the end of the next episode. I'm fully prepared for that. And that's okay, because that's probably when we're going to see Jen suiting up anyway. Because we're going to need context for it in the episode. It's not going to just turn up and they're chatting on a garage rooftop, Oh, hello. Are there two of you, or have you just got bigger? It's a neighbour's cat. Eating my cat food. Also, making sure my cat stays asleep and doesn't turn him off. Okay, so like I said, this is just positive review and positive love for She-Hulk because it is a fantastic show. The MCU seems to be going in a great direction. And yeah, like I said, there are so many other channels, good channels to watch. Eric's Reloaded, Pagey, Lance Ringgold, he's a very good one. New Rockstars and Heavy Spoilers, or the bigger ones as well. But I watch Eric's Reloaded and Pagey and Lance Ringgold like more than anyone. So they're the ones to go to really. So yeah, watch She-Hulk and spread positivity and love and not negativity.